For all you people that are doing self-harm out there, it's not cool to do. And this video is going to tell you 5 reasons why you should not. Number 1, God has a plan for everyone, even you. Number 2, your family and people who love you they don't want to see you go through such tough stuff and just give up and self-harm. Number 3, most people have been through a lot more than you have and haven't self-harmed. Number 4, you could possibly die. I mean, you'll go down to where Satan lives, according to the Bible. Number 5, life is wonderful. Life is great. Look at what God has created. And now, I'm going to explain all those 5 reasons why. Number 1, God has a plan for everyone, even you. You know, God, He's a wonderful person. Look at what He has created. I mean, it's wonderful, and we've just built upon it. And, I mean, God wouldn't give people such horrible things if they didn't think they could deal with it. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. My dad, he died on New Year's Eve last, 2012. He was a cool man. I mean, he knew everything about me, and he knew a lot of stuff that not many other people knew. And he died, and unfortunately, I tried to go back to school for it was 2 days, and I went back, and I was really sad. And I finally got out because I had to go to New York for about a week or 2 to go to his funeral, and that was sad. I mean, unlike like you do in every funeral, you cry. I mean, I bawled my eyes out at the funeral, and I stuck with it. I didn't self-harm at all. I've been through a tough life, but I know people out there have been through way tougher things than me. Someone actually taught me that, I thought I was like, oh man, my life sucks. It's not cool at all. Someone said, hey, I've been through a lot more than you have, and they're right. They told me their stories. It was just a bad story, and they didn't self-harm at all. And number 2, moving on to number 2, a lot of people that love you don't want to see you go through all this. Basically saying, like, many people love you, your family, God, friends, everyone. I mean, even if they don't know you, they'll hear your story and they're like, I love you. Love is a strong word, but it's a word that means a lot. And usually when they say that word, it's the truth. And, I mean, if people love you, they don't want you to self-harm yourself. They don't want you to go through that much pain. And it's just a horrible thing to go through. I mean, there's tough life, and if you have a tough life, most people will give up and say, why God? But God wouldn't give people challenges if He didn't think they could handle it. And I am moving on to number 3 now, saying more people have been through a lot and haven't self-harmed at all. Like that person I was talking about earlier, they've been through a really tough life, didn't self-harm. I mean, wow, that's surprising. Like, I'm not going to tell the story, but their story was horrible. It was a lot of bad stuff happened, and they didn't self-harm. All I lost was my dad, he meant everything to me. I didn't self-harm. But moving on to number 4, you could die. I mean, my pastor at church, you think, oh, pastor, he's have a wonderful life with God and everything. Actually, when he was in 5th grade, he was not the best kid you'd ever want to hang around, honestly. He told me his story, and wow, that was horrible. But what changed him, that was even better. I mean, obviously it's a horrible story, but it's better. I mean, his brother, he made the wrong decision and cut his wrist, cut a vein. But before, he didn't die, luckily. He didn't die. He texted his mom saying, Mom, I made a mistake. He survived. God gave him another chance. And he's good, he's healthy. And he regrets that day. And moving on to number 5. Life is great. I mean, look at what God has created. He has created, like, ground that we can walk on, skies that we can look at, and watch clouds. But why would you want to, through a whole great life, why would you want to self-harm? Most people think, oh, I've been through a lot, that's why. Well, you can get past that, and you can not self-harm, and you can accomplish a lot in life, actually. Life is just great, it's wonderful. I mean, I thought I had the worst life. No, I've met people who had worse than me, and that's just amazing how they did not self-harm. I mean, people can go through a lot and not self-harm. But, life you can accomplish in life, from spreading the word to God as a pastor, or, serving for the USA as a military leader, or something like that, So why don't you go out there and make your life something worth living for?